Welcome back to the Vinyl Brotherhood, everyone. We now find ourselves in the year of our Lord, 2025, believe it or not. We've got plenty of exciting stuff lined up for the year, but before we get to all that, I wanted to take one last look back at 2024 and discuss one of its most discussed albums, A Dream Is All We Know, the fifth studio album by the Lemon Twigs. I'm not a diehard fan of the Lemon Twigs. This album was my introduction to them, but even after first listen, I'm thinking I probably should be. Their work is right up my alley after all, and if you're a fan of all things 1960s pop rock, then you may be able to say the same. I can't wait to discuss this record with you, so let's go ahead and take this over to the record player and get things started. Okay, album art time. I'm really digging this. You kind of capture a moment in time. That's pretty interesting. Great composition. For all we know, this could be Photoshop, but in any case, they did a really good job. Got some fun stuff going on the liner notes. We have the lyrics on one side, and then some like illustrated versions of themselves. That's pretty neat. And you guys are gonna like this. It also comes with a poster. I won't unfold it today, but it's really cool. I'm glad that they did that. So, the Lemon Twigs is the project, the musical project of brothers Brian and Michael Daddario, formed back in 2014 and still going strong. They make their mission very clear, mere seconds into the record, to take us on a nostalgic journey through the 60s as they pull us through a colorful kaleidoscope of the era's most recognizable soundscapes for a breezy half hour. Using power pop as a foundation, they dip their toes in many different pools, not necessarily one at a time, but sometimes all at once. And I must applaud these guys for their great taste in 60s pop right away. The Beatles and Beach Boys influence is obvious. You may even pick up on some nods to others such as Millennium, The Kinks, The Zombies, or softer pop stuff like Roger Nichols. All of your favorite elements from those styles are present, from the Baroque style keys, the chimey 12-string guitars, the tight harmonies, the plucky bass, and everything else that made that time in music history so special. They even go as far as almost perfectly emulating those iconic vocal performances. At times you think you're hearing an old, recovered John Lennon or Brian Wilson take. Heck, I even heard some Al Jardine in there, and I respect it. So it goes without saying that what drew my undivided attention at first were the songs that remind me of my all-time favorite band, the Beach Boys. Remember, this is secretly a Beach Boys channel. Speaking of channel, they channeled their inner Brian Wilson on In the Eyes of a Girl, a splashy confection styled after 1963 surf pop and co-produced with Sean Ono Lennon, surprisingly and ironically enough. I'm really impressed with how well they nail the meticulous details, not purely from the composition standpoint, but on the production end of things as well. For example, the snare on In the Eyes of a Girl has the not-so-subtle slap-back echo that would be expected from a recording of that time, in that period and in that style. The guitar overtones are all era appropriate, as are the psychedelia-tinged keyboards and organ sounds. The softer entries, like folk influence, I should have known right from the start, or the more Baroque Ember Days, really benefit from that coveted analog warmth as well. The attention to detail really pays off for this album. Nothing really detracts, and while A Dream Is All We Know is quite the eclectic combo of aesthetics, the work as a whole manages to be cohesive. Variety is the theme of the record, and there isn't at any point a drastic enough shift in any one song's production approach to make things feel disjointed or out of place, if that makes sense. And along with a commitment to sounding good, the Lemon Twigs put plenty of effort into their performance. These Golden Years is played with enough enthusiasm to assure that I was along for the ride, accomplishing its goal as a track one. Like any good power pop album, A Dream Is All We Know hits the delicate balance of being melodically bubblegum without compromising the sophistication in the writing department. These songs will get stuck in your head, but you probably won't find them especially predictable at first. And I appreciate that they write smart, and that goes for the lyrics too. They keep the subject matter fairly simple, relatable, everyday things. Relationships, dreams, and frustrations are all presented in a way that's approachable, relatable, and but not, simplistic or pretentious. Intentionally crafted to be timeless. And I'm about to exhaust all my adjectives here. One of the great successes of the record is that these songs transcend from the realm of campy parody that similar efforts tend to fall into, and it's refreshing to see that they're not relying on a gimmick, but treating the concept with respect, pouring thought into every detail, creating something as interesting and authentic as possible. So if you strip these songs down to like one voice and one acoustic guitar, they'd still be total bangers. They're strong melodically, and they've added enough interest in the song's structure and instrumentation to even stand alongside those that they're paying tribute to, if I dare say. Of course, the primary concern with any group so pervasively influenced by their musical forefathers is that it's hard to know where the tribute ends and where the band begins. And I've said this about other bands and other reviews. These guys are true chameleons. They can replicate the greats with absolute ease, but there's still a responsibility, I think, to bring a bit of themselves to the table. And maybe I haven't listened to enough of their past work to be able to recognize it, but even after several listens, I've had a tough time figuring out who the real Lemon Twigs are under the impressions. So maybe being the jukebox of the lost mid-century hits is the whole point, and if they're willing to own that, then more power to them. Of course, when your songwriting is this solid, that's hardly an issue. So I'll take another albums just like this one any day, but if and when they choose to sail off to uncharted territories, I don't doubt that will be a fantastic album. The potential is staggering, but for now, I'm really happy with what we have here. I find this album to be highly enjoyable, and you know what? It's just a lot of fun. For some people, that's enough, and for others, it may not be enough. Like some of our favorite 1960s albums, it proves that great art doesn't have to come with the whole world's burdens or an existential crisis in tow to justify its own existence. But we should also appreciate, on the other hand, that it's an exceptional and thoughtfully executed work as well. So I actually find it not only life-affirming, but fairly inspiring, and I'm not surprised to see that it has been as warmly received as it has. So those are my thoughts on the new Lemon Twigs. Let's head back so I can wrap things up and send you all on your merry way. You can't help but come away with the sense that the Lemon Twigs knew exactly what they wanted from this album, and from every angle you can say that they've done a commendable job. I'm not going to comment on what I'm hoping for from a follow-up. I'll save that for when I've done my due diligence and familiarized myself with their earlier work. But on its own merits, A Dream Is All We Know is more than just a successful experiment. It's a delightful little time. I love when music puts a goofy smile on my face, and I could see this being an album that I'd take into the years ahead. So I really like these songs, and quite frankly, it's my exact cup of tea. So feel free to factor in my personal biases, but I'll be scoring A Dream Is All We Know an 8.5 out of 10. Almost, but not quite at a 9, because I get the sense that their best work is ahead of them, and we need to leave a little room at the top. I don't know, what do y'all think? How would you score this album? What do you think of their other records? I still need to listen to those. So let us know in the comments, and if you don't mind doing us and yourself a little favor, consider hitting that subscribe button, or at least like the video. Much appreciated. So that's all we've got for today. Please have a good week, take care of yourselves, and enjoy your respective 2025s. We'll see you again very soon, right here at the Vinyl Brotherhood.